In a surprise announcement, Dokkan just announced the best EZAs. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have a surprising announcement from a producer letter that was dropped earlier today. Now, I'm sorry I couldn't cover it when it dropped. I think it dropped when I was driving home today. So here we are now, ready to talk about what these guys are doing, because I'm very excited. We have the EZAs for the TEQ, Goku and Vegeta, who transform into Gogeta, and the Fizz Janemba. These are the 2021 Tanabata LRs and the Part 2 LRs. Pretty surprising that they're EZA now. I mean, within the span of a year, they EZA'd all three past Tanabata LRs up to the 200% meta. So makes me really surprised at what might be coming here soon if they're willing to EZA all three of them so quickly. Like, we literally just got Evoken EZA during the anniversary not too long ago. So I mean, either way, still very exciting. So let's jump in. Let's talk about what they're doing, as well as what that means for what lies ahead. So talking about Goku and Vegeta, right? So they are now a time limit or connected hope, category key 3, HP attack defense 180%, pretty standard for DFE LR EZAs. On their 12 key, they are now raising attack infinitely and greatly raising defense for the turn. On their 18 key, they are greatly raising attack and greatly raising defense for the turn, causing mega colossal damage. So they are an attack stacker. Don't let that defense though fool you. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, right? So even though they aren't stacking defense, they're actually getting quite a bit of defense here. Now, on their passive, they get key 2 and attack defense 200%. They get an additional attack defense 50% when performing a super attack, and they reduce damage received by 40%. They change random key spheres to rainbow key spheres, which is what they were doing before, although I do think it was a chance before, and now it's guaranteed. They have key 2 per rainbow key sphere obtained. They launch an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. And they get attack 50% and launch an additional super attack with a rainbow key sphere obtained. So you have a guaranteed additional super if you gain a rainbow key sphere. They also have attack and defense 50% and reduces damage received by 20% for one turn from their first appearance or when HP is 70% or below. So you get one shot and an extra 50% and an extra 20% damage reduction, which puts them at 60% damage reduction if you fall below 70% or on their well, actually, wait, that's a bit confusing there. So I guess it can happen twice. It happens on the first turn, and then it can happen again if you fall below 70%. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what that means. But either way, still pretty good, right? So looking at this, right, he has the guarantee, he has 4 guaranteed supers, if I'm reading that correctly. He has 2 additional supers plus his main one, which means he has a 4th hidden potential super. So, honestly, that's pretty good. Combine that with greatly raising defense and greatly stacking attack, he's going to build up his attack pretty quickly. So let's see, what does that mean for his Gogeta? So again, shout out to Minato for getting this out, but for Gogeta, he's now greatly raising on his 12 key. He's now greatly raising attack and defense for the turn. On his 18 key, he's greatly raising attack and defense for 3 turns and causing mega colossal damage while greatly lowering attack and defense. I do like that a lot of characters are getting great lowering attack and defense, especially because a lot of bosses are now being so strong, but they can have those debuffs applied. So really nice there. On his passive, they recover 30% HP once only. Then they get key 5 and attack and defense 250%. They get attack and defense 77% when performing a super attack. They perform a critical hit and reduce damage received by 40%. They also change random type of key spheres to rainbow key spheres and get key 3 per rainbow key sphere obtained. He has attack at 77% and launches an additional super attack and guards all attacks with a rainbow key sphere. So 40% and guard, that's pretty good. They also reduce damage received by 40% until attacking, and for so 80% before attacking. Nice. And precedes enemy super attack for 5 turns, right? So they remain the scout effect. Shame they didn't bump that up, right? Vegeto's is still at 10. It's a shame they didn't just bump that up to like 5 or something. But this is not the worst thing in the world. And then when the enemy is hit by the character's ultra super attack, they can nullify unarmed super attacks directed at the character. For the duration of that turn. They have a high chance of evading the enemy's attack temporarily when receiving a super attack. So 50% chance to dodge, guard, 40% damage reduction, and basically guaranteed super attack nullification if it is unarmed, as long as you hit them with that 18 key first. So honestly, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. They're looking actually really good. Let them stack up a bit. They're going to be really, really powerful offensively. And I mean, even though they aren't stacking defense like Vegito was, they're still going to be getting plenty of defense here on the Greatly Raising, combined with damage reduction and guard. So honestly, pretty happy with how they handled them. So let's that leaves us to jump on over to Janemba here. So LR Super Jeneemba. Wow. Okay, so this is interesting. This is gonna really help you folks out who maybe didn't pull one of the new Broly units for a lead for movie bosses. Jeneemba is now a key 4 and 170 lead for movie bosses. So I think that's the first yellow coin LR to get bumped up to 170. So wow, okay. Alright, that's actually really good. On Janemba's 12 key, he's raising attack and defense for the turn, causing colossal damage and greatly lowering defense. On his 18 key, he's greatly raising attack and defense for the turn, causing mega colossal damage and massively lowering defense. His passive is key 6 and attack and defense 166%. He guards all attacks, reduces damage received by 22%, launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack for 1 turn from his first appearance. He gets key 2 up to 6 and attack and defense 66% up to 166%, and chance of performing a critical hit 22% up to 66% with each attack performed. Alright, so same as before, the more he attacks, the more he builds. He also gets attack 66% when key is 22 or more. He reduces damage received by 22% when he's in slot 1 or slot 2, right? So previously that initial buff was locked. Now it's not. It can be slot 1 or slot 2 for that buff. He also launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack as a second or third attacker in the turn. So he's basically got guaranteed super. He's basically got extra supers if he's in slot 2, which is where he wants to be for turn 1 as he's building. He also has a high chance of evading an enemy's attack temporarily when receiving a super attack. So very, very nice there. He can nullify, he can guard, he can basically, I mean, looking at what I see here, like, the dude's going to be a defensive beast, and I'm really liking that. I mean, that's what he was before. They just dialed it up to 11 here. So honestly, pretty good translations here. I'm curious to see how his rage mode stands out, because they don't usually do anything with rage modes, or giant forms for that matter. Like, they give him a little extra, but nothing too crazy. So he's greatly raising attack temporarily, destructive damage, critical hit, massively raises attack temporarily, destructive damage, changes all key spheres to fizz, key 2 per. Oh, okay, wow. Okay, yeah, so this rage mode is basically a nuke. Because wow, okay, I like this, right? Because so basically, you're going to enter rage mode. You're going to get 23 key spheres. You're going to pop that 18 key, massively raise your attack. You're going to get 16% per key sphere obtained. Okay, this is nice. And then consider this is a rage mode, so canceling supers, right? This has got a lot of good tech. This is something Broly's team needed a lot of, right? Something to cancel the supers, right? A lot of superclass teams have access to things like Orange Piccolo to do that. Movie Bosses now has this. So you know what? We'll take that. So honestly, really, really good. I'm curious to see what their stats look like. So let's go ahead. Let's head on over to Halbert's page here. So let's start with the Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta Oh, actually, I do think this is wrong for Halvard. So let's go to here. Okay. So, here we go. This is much better. Okay. Yeah, so I think Halvard ended up calculating it wrong. He does greatly raise defense, which means on turn 2, right? So this is basically his second appearance with Bulma support and Trio support. You're looking at 1.6 million after his 4th super. After his first super, he's over 1 million, plus all that guard, plus all that damage reduction, right? They're fine defensively, right? More so than I would say Vegeta was at this point. So honestly, really, really good. Let's see here. And that's the best thing about this is these guys are on the trios team. Okay, turn 4, so that means they've gotten stacks, and so he literally just transformed them right away. And then so that's what you're looking at if you transform him right on turn 4, which would be the earliest you can transform him, because they didn't change his condition, right? They can't change his active skill condition, so it's still 70% after turn 4. So I mean, you could transform him right away, and this is what you're looking at, which is still a pretty good number, all things considered. But of course, you could just let him keep stacking, right? You don't have to transform him turn 4. They're going to have enough defense to power you through. So, I mean, that looks pretty good. I mean, considering that it's going to be higher, even higher the next few turns. And defense is pretty solid there, so no complaints there with the defense. So, let's see. Let's take a look. Turn 6, 4 stacks in base, 1 stack as Gogeta, trio support. Okay, a lot better on the second appearance, and again, it's going to get even better if you end up with, if you let them stack more. And then, of course, the defense is going to be pretty much the same because there's no stacking defense. So that's pretty good defensively, right? By the second time you see Gogeta, this is what you're looking like defensively, which means he's, I mean, maybe not safe enough to put turn, slot 1. I mean, you could risk it. He's got dodge, he's got damage reduction, he's got all that other stuff. So you could risk it, or you can just keep him slot 2 behind the movie trio, and then they'll cover slot 2 pretty well. So honestly, looking pretty good for Gogeta there. So let's check in on, oh, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to pull this up. So, Luke, again, shout out to him, put this up here. So this is just kind of giving an idea of what their turn 1 is like, right? With trio support, 4 supers, they're around 1,600. Without Bulma, right, around 1.5 million. Let's say they get hit with a 4.8 million super. It's pretty unlikely that that's going to happen, but this is the amount of damage you take, somewhere between 350k and 410. That is pretty good for turn 1, taking a 4.8 million super, which, I mean, of course, I don't think there is one that can hit him for that, but that's pretty good. Now, let's check out Janemba here. So, Jeneemba is a little bit different, right? On his turn 2, this would be his first appearance, Cell Max and Broly. He's looking at... He actually links pretty well with Cell Max. Defense, 2.1 million after 4 supers. Pretty good. This assumes you have Imp Broly's trios, Imp Broly intro up, as well as his domain. Attack, I mean, attack's probably not the greatest. He does need to build, so let's see what he looks like on his second appearance. A lot better on the second appearance after getting his fully built up, right? And then, of course, defense is about the same since he isn't stacking. And that is this time with the domain and support from this guy here, assuming you get 2 rainbow orbs, right? So that's 60% support from him. So pretty good. Okay. And then turn 6, next appearance, 24. A little bit less on this appearance comparatively, right? Because there's no support here. But that's going to be pretty good, right? Like this is like worst case scenario. You probably won't be seeing this often because you're having other things going on. So honestly, not that bad. I'm very, very impressed with these EZAs. These guys look phenomenal, and I can't wait to test them out on game. According to the producer letter here, if I can find a little page. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. Yeah. So right down here at the bottom, event period is planned for October 1st on PST. So this will probably be around 8:30 on the 30. It's hard to say. It'll be sometime between the 31st and the, I'm sorry, in the 30th and the 1st, depending on your time zone. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be really fun, though. I think this is a great way to close out the worldwide download celebration. And I did want to leave with one last remark here. There's a good chance, right? We could there's a non-zero chance we could still see the sub EZA for this guy in the upcoming data download, along with the TEQ Krillin and the STR Trunks. We still didn't get any subs EZAs. There's no better time to do it. I'm not hoping. I'm not holding out hope for it, but I'm just saying that there's still a chance we can get them. And then we also have the returning event for the Veku. For some reason, we honestly weren't. I don't think any of us knew this was coming, but yeah, he is coming. So there's a chance we could see an EZA for Veku during this the tail end of this celebration as well. So just throwing that out there. That could be kind of fun. He's actually a funny card to use, so they might be able to make him pretty good. So, guys, that is it for the video. That is the EZA details for Goku, Vegeta that transform into Gogeta, and Janemba. What a way to close out probably one of the better worldwides we've had in terms of characters, I think. Aside, last year was pretty hype for me in terms of character releases, but I think this one came pretty darn close, and this is a great way to close it out. So, guys, that's it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below, let us know what are your thoughts on these EZAs. We will have more details as we get the data download and we get a chance to test them out, as well as make our showcases when they finally do drop in game on October 1st. So, if nothing else, guys, thanks for watching, and aloha.